I'm going to say it again, Travis.
You're gonna say it?
All right.
All right. We
All
gotta get
right.
that. That's be like our first merch right
I should
there.
just learn how to say all right in different languages and then
All
just say it.
right.
And yeah, just
I
instead
got
of
an
different languages,
Australian
just different
down.
accents.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Yeah,
But
we'll just
anyway,
keep changing it. It'll just be all right forever.
yeah, this is the All Right podcast, which
Yeah.
actually, now that I mention it, I did find out there's another totally offsides
Yeah, I heard
podcast, and
about
I
that.
think they just do hockey. But
Yeah.
I'm not changing this. I'm not changing this at all. So we just have to do better. We're already on page one of Google with them. So they've got like 100+ episodes out, and we're already on page one. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, so take that totally offsides podcast.
Yeah, so listen to us, Totally Offside podcast. If you're here, thank you. If you've listened before, thank you even more. If
I
you
appreciate
haven't,
it.
go listen again. I don't know. Do it.
If you've listened before and you came back for some reason,
You're my hero.
we really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're my true hero at that point. Oh, all right, Nathan. What do you say we give the
Um,
hopefully people what they're hopefully looking for then?
yeah, we'll run through a few basketball things real quick before jumping into the rest of the sports because basketball is pretty basketball news are pretty scarce right now. Not gonna lie.
I was gonna say hopefully
Um,
it's hot in the streets, but it's not hot in the
it's really
streets.
not. It's really not. But first, we'll start off with a potential idea that we have for the future of the podcast,
Here we
where
go.
it's the introducing the FBA, also known as the Fantasy Basketball League,
Well, that's
and
the
basically,
FBL.
oh, Fantasy Basketball
You're giving the wrong
Association. Oh, we're
acronym
already
there.
ruining it. We're
You're
already
already
ruining it.
fucking up your creation.
The Fantasy Basketball Association. My apologies. And basically, the idea is it's going to be a league full of fake teams, fake players. Everything about it is like entirely fictional. And a lot of the decisions will be made by the fans. So the idea would be like if should a player request a trade would be voted on by you guys, or should this team trade for blah blah blah, who should they draft, who are the award winners, so on and so forth. But the caveat with it is we currently don't have enough people to do that with.
Not even
So
close.
what I'm saying is if you guys can get this all shared out and get more people in and on board with this, then we can 100% run the FBA.
Yeah, I
And we
mean,
would,
I was thinking maybe by the time we get back to school, we'd have enough to run this.
yeah,
I don't know
hopefully.
how much you want to try and like overlay with basketball season. Um,
Well, I mean, I think this could run mostly year round since it's entirely
that's what I
fictional.
was
Like,
thinking.
obviously, the games and stuff will all happen. Like, I'll be simming the games probably in 2K,
Hmm.
and then we'll keep track of all the stats and everything. So, like, it'll be like an actual league, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, we could even do like a mini episode or something in a second episode, like a dedicated segment to just the update on that league.
Yeah,
It's something
exactly.
that you could follow kind of independently if you wanted. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was even thinking about the idea of, I mean, we could initiate it before we had enough standing, but I think that would take away from it a little bit. So we'll probably have to
Also,
wait until we get enough, but
I also like the idea of if we have enough people, we can do like a little competition for like jersey designs.
true.
Get people submit some jersey designs, and we pick the ones we like the most.
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking too, like if we could build this up to be enough of a thing, at least within hopefully whatever community we can establish, then we could even do like kind of merch for this, or we could do like live streams of games or something. Like we could turn this into a bit more of an event and a bit more of like I said, like an independent thing itself.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, really,
So
we're hoping like the sky's the limit with it if there's anybody interested in it. I mean, we could attempt to do it like with other sports as well if people wanted, but basketball is what Nathan knows the best. He's taken the lead on this, and not for nothing, it's probably one of the most popular sports, other than maybe football, which we don't know enough about. So
yeah, so yeah,
if you
so
don't
that's
like it,
basically
too
the
damn
idea behind
bad,
it.
basically.
We're running it anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the FBA.
Nathan, maybe we can put out like some of the logos or stuff you've already made
We
too.
could, yeah, we could on social media, on Twitter and stuff like that.
Because
If you
don't
guys
kid
want to,
yourself, Nathan's a grinder, all right. I mean, you might not hear from him for 3 days. He might live like a vampire and sleep totally opposite of you or something. But this guy does nonstop work, so he's moving on this thing.
appreciate the shout out.
Gonna rely on that fact going into fourth year. So
Oh yeah, totally. All right, so yeah, that's the FBA basically. Moving on to actual basketball news.
you don't think
There's
that's
KD
actual
trade
basketball news
rumors.
for fuck's sake? I
Okay,
mean,
well,
we
real
could
life.
be altering the face of
Moving on
like
to NBA.
esports and podcasting. You don't know.
Moving on to NBA news. KD trade rumors. Those are buzzing a little bit again. So the Celtics offered Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a pick, and the
Wow.
Nets declined because
Ooh.
the Nets Marcus Smart as well.
Hmm.
And if I'm the Celtics, I'm asking, what the hell are you doing? Because, or I guess if I'm a Celtics fan, not if I am the Celtics, but if I'm a Celtics fan, I'm asking, what the hell are the Celtics doing? Because like you just made the finals last year, and which means I think if you're a team that makes it to the finals, it doesn't mean that you need another superstar. It means that you need more role
You
players.
need more
Like you
depth.
need better. Yeah, you
Your
need more
bench
depth.
needs to be better because your first unit's clearly carrying you to the playoffs.
Exactly. And so, like, if you're trading all of your depth for KD, you're now losing all of that depth, and you're less likely to make the finals again.
Hmm.
Like, you're
That's
giving
what
up
I
so
that's what
much
I hate
for Kevin
about
Durant.
these superstar trades in the
Yeah, you're
NBA is
giving up
because
so
you're
much.
restricting yourself so
Yeah,
much.
you're giving up so much that you're literally setting yourself back.
Exactly. It's actually the
So
same thing going
I'm
on
not
with
super
Soto
big
right
of.
now, and I'm going to talk about that later, but it's the same thing going on.
It's exactly the same. But so I'm not super big on that. I'm not too happy with it. I don't think the Celtics should have even offered it. I don't even think KD should be in the Celtics' radar, to be honest.
Not really.
But whatever. So I don't own an NBA team, so I guess I can't
Yeah, exactly. We're great
make a
armchair
very experienced
managers,
call.
but I
I'd
guess
like to think
GMs.
I know a lot about basketball, but
You know more
I
than
don't know. I
me,
haven't.
so you got that. We can get you that poster or whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
I
The
know
I know
more
more
about
than Travis.
basketball than Travis. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, get me a T-shirt.
New merch idea. There you go. We're
Oh yeah.
pumping these things out today.
And then along the same lines as the KD trade rumors, Donovan Mitchell trade rumors have been shooting up.
Now that is
Now,
somebody I'm excited to see go.
see that one will be exciting because not only do the Knicks want him right now, but the Raptors, the Heat, the Wizards, the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Kings are all interested in him.
Man,
So
that's a
like
good list.
basically what I'm hearing is the entire Eastern Conference plus the Kings are interested in Donovan Mitchell.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go Eastern Conference. But so I was looking at like what a potential roster would look like if Donovan Mitchell went to the Elements. We've all seen Donovan Mitchell or Donovan Mitchell on like Knicks
Donovan
rosters.
Rochel, let's go.
Donovan Mitchell on
It's his
the
cousin.
Knicks rosters. But so like we've all seen him on the Knicks. He'd be probably playing with like RJ Barrett and like Mitch Rob, which is that's fine. That's a pretty good. It's a decent team.
That
On the
excites me.
Raptors, I think we would probably move OG Anunoby and like a couple picks.
But I mean, Donovan Mitchell is just better OG Anunoby, in my opinion,
But yeah,
right? Like it's
just shorter, better Donovan or
exactly.
shorter, better
Yeah.
OG Anunoby. So I mean, yeah, it would probably be like a starting lineup of like Fred VanVleet, Donovan Mitchell, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Chris Boucher.
God, that's a pretty decent starting five
It's a
right there. Let's
pretty good starting
go.
lineup.
I'd watch
Assuming we
Raptors
keep Chris
games.
Boucher, but if we don't keep Chris Boucher, it's probably Christian Koloko, who's like basically Chris Boucher.
Not for nothing. There's always like a new exciting center.
Yeah,
I
there's
like Chris
always gonna
Boucher a
be
lot, but
tall, skinny centers. Those just
yeah.
exist everywhere. So
And I mean, more centers nowadays, anyways, are being trained to play more like, more offensive roles. They can shoot the
yeah,
ball like a
exactly.
wing and stuff. Like it's not like Chris Boucher is a one of a kind talent type of thing.
And Mitchell to the Heat has been a pretty pretty talked about thing too. Joining Jimmy Butler, they'd probably have to give up Kyle Lowry for it, and maybe Tyler Hero. But Bam Adebayo,
I
Donovan
think you
Mitchell,
do
and
that
Jimmy
though.
Butler.
Yeah, you
That's
do
that's
that
yeah, that is hard to beat defensively. Like
for
that
sure.
is a very good defensive team.
It's just like how do you can't match up against that. You know what I mean? No
No,
team
and
has what it takes.
they cover every single position because
That's what I
Jimmy Butler
like. Yeah,
alone guards like 1 through 4.
I know.
So and then Bam Adebayo can guard 3 through 5. So like those are
Yeah, exactly. What do you do now?
like yeah. So I mean Donovan
Have
Mitchell to the
fun
Heat. I would
developing a
love to
new
see Donovan
position.
Mitchell in Miami. I think it would be great.
It'd be pretty cool.
But the only downside is I don't want to see Kyle Lowry in Utah.
No, but in my 2K Sims, that's normally where he ends up. And not for nothing, like Kyle Lowry could fit in Utah for the last bit of his season more so than I think
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell has for the first bit of his. Like, it'd be fun
true.
for him to go to Miami
Yeah,
and like drink real beer and stuff. I mean, you've been there. It's a fucking wasteland. Come on.
that's true. Yeah, and the one that kind of confused me was Donovan Mitchell to the Wizards. Because you have Bradley Beal. You just signed Bradley Beal to a max.
Mm-hmm.
And Bradley plays the shooting guard,
Exactly.
right? Donovan is not a point guard.
No.
And he's too short to be a shooting guard.
Yeah.
Like he's too short for Bradley to move over and then Donovan to be the primary shooting guard.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it doesn't make sense. And he's definitely too small to be a small forward because
Oh,
he's like
for
6 foot.
sure.
Donovan Mitchell's like 6 foot.
Really?
So like yeah. Like I'm
I knew
taller
he
than
was
Donovan
short. I
Mitchell.
didn't know he was that short. I can't say anything. I'm 5'7", but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But in basketball terms, like he's like the height of a point guard, but he has the skill set of a shooting guard. So,
It's a weird
but
spot.
I don't think he would work in Washington. I just don't
I
think
just
it would
wouldn't like
work.
to see him there. That's not exciting.
Like Bradley Beal is the only person that's ever wanted to play in Washington, to be honest. Maybe John Wall for the little bit that he played there, but like a little bit meaning like the beginning of his career, obviously. But
Who's the guy from like the 90s, 2000s that I always forget about? You have to
Gilbert
fucking.
Arenas.
There you go. He must have
Yeah,
liked
yeah,
it. He got paid.
yeah. He probably liked it.
I don't know. He was
Marcin
pulling
Gortat,
guns out
maybe.
on people in the arena and stuff. He felt like he was a king there. So
I mean, he probably was a king there.
I'm sure he
Let's be
was.
honest. No one really goes to play in Washington except for like the couple years MJ was there. The very very end of his career.
Yeah, but I don't. Like, I don't. That's just MJ being
I
MJ.
don't
You
count
can't
that though.
really. You can't attribute that to anything other than he
They
was
probably
just
just
fucking
offered him a
around.
big contract and he just wanted the money.
Sure.
Um, yeah, but I mean, so yeah, Wizards. I don't like the Wizards. Hornets are next.
Do you think he was also as confused about the fact that there was cherry blossoms in Washington as we were?
Maybe
I bet you he was. He's
probably
from.
like
He's
where the
from.
apple
Isn't
trees
he
come
from
from.
like Carolina?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
He
know
went
he
to North
played there.
Carolina.
Yeah, I know he played there. I thought he was from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't know. Fucking cherry blossoms here. What the hell?
But Donovan Mitchell in Charlotte with LaMelo Ball.
That'd be fun. I mean,
That would be fun. It
I
wouldn't be
still don't
good.
like
They
Charlotte,
wouldn't
but it's
win.
exciting.
They wouldn't win very much still, but like LaMelo with Donovan,
It's pretty
that's a good
cute.
1-2 punch. That's very fast.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a very fast
That is
1-2
a
punch.
up tempo offense right there.
Other than that, though, I don't really have much to say about it. Like, they probably have to give up Miles Bridges for it, assuming Miles Bridges goes back to Charlotte or gets out of jail. Who knows?
Where's your
Um,
favorite spot for him to go?
I want him to go to the Knicks or the Heat, to be honest. The other two teams are the Hawks and the Kings. I think he would be fine in Atlanta. Like, Trae Young would probably love to have another All-Star with him. The Kings are the Kings. I don't think they're ever going to pull a guy like Donovan Mitchell in. No offense, Sacramento, but make playoffs first and then start going after superstars. Oh, that was a thing that I saw. There's
What's
not a
that?
single active player in the NBA that has faced the Kings in the playoffs.
I saw that the other day.
Not
How
one.
fucking wild is that?
Not one. Not like because LeBron's was in the East for the whole beginning of his
That's true,
career,
and they're
so
never making the
he
finals.
never faced them. Yeah, I was like, what?
Wow, that must
Not a
fucking.
single player.
Oh,
They
that must
haven't
be
made it.
demoralizing.
I think they haven't made it in like 20 something years.
Holy shit!
Like that's wild. So like the
So
last
they've just
time they
never
made,
made the playoffs in my entire lifetime.
yeah, I think so, pretty
Like I
much.
know if I was growing up in Sacramento, I'd probably have other things on my mind than the basketball team, but
I
that's
think
fucking
I think
depressing.
it's maybe a little less. Maybe it's like 17 or something because like
I still
I
wouldn't
think
remember
I'm
that.
pretty sure DeMarcus Cousins brought them to the playoffs once.
Jesus.
Once.
I forget
Maybe.
he was there.
Yeah, he
This
was
feels
really
like
really
so
good in
long
Sacramento
ago.
too. Boogie was good in Sacramento.
Oh, I know, dude. I remember like now that you've mentioned it again, I'm seeing like highlights of him in
Yeah.
my head again, but I feel like he's been everywhere since then.
And then like Vlade Divac and Peja Stojakovic was before our time, so like we
I don't
never
even
watched them.
recognize those names, so
Vlade Divac now owns
well,
the
I guess
team.
I recognize Vladdy. Yeah,
Yeah, and then Peja Stojakovic was like at the time he was probably one of the better shooters in NBA history.
really.
And then like Ray Allen happened, and then Stephen, a decent shooter by the name of Stephen Curry happened. But I
Yeah,
want to
you
I want to
could
say
say
Steph
that.
is I want to say Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. Come on, guys, like Jordan Poole exists. Come on.
The third Splash Brother. I've got him in my Sonics franchise right now in 2K, and he gets like 20 plus minutes a game, and he's just not putting up numbers, and it really
Oh
depresses
yeah.
me. I
Well, he's
love him.
pretty
He's so
inconsistent in
good.
2K. He's pretty inconsistent in 2K. It's
Yeah,
a
but
little
like when he's
disappointing.
on, he's dropping 35 with like,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
four for five or
If
six
he
for
gets
seven
hot,
from
it's
behind the
over.
arc.
But if
Like
he's not hot, mm-mm.
he's getting, yeah, if he's not hot, he played 28 minutes a game and he wound up with like 5, 3, and 6. So you know what I
Yeah, you're
mean.
like, okay. And last little piece of NBA news I got is there's Charlotte is interested in a Kemba Walker reunion.
Ooh,
And that is something I would love to see. Kemba Walker back in Charlotte.
that would be fun.
Because I think I feel like ever since Kemba left Charlotte, he's been kind of disappointing. He's been reduced to like a role player, whereas he was like an all-star caliber player in Charlotte. Granted, he's a little older now, so the odds of him being still an all-star caliber player alongside LaMelo Ball probably pretty slim. But like it's the equivalent of like if Isaiah Thomas returned to Boston. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like or if what's another good one? Well, I guess if Kyle Lowry came back to when Kyle Lowry comes back to Toronto. Because let's be honest, Kyle Lowry's retiring as a Raptor. He already said he wanted to. That man
I'm
loves our
excited
city,
for
so
that moment. I can't
I
lie.
know, me too,
I'm
me too.
I don't like that he's not a career guy, but it feels like that's not, I don't
I
know,
mean,
maybe
he
I'm
never
from the
was in the
outside, but
first
it
place, though.
yeah, I know, but he kind of is. Like he came
Because,
from
well, yeah,
Houston early enough
let's
and
be
the
honest,
career
like
meant enough. Like
Memphis and Houston never really existed for Kyle Lowry.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, I guess it's not true, but I don't know. I feel like in baseball, if you're a career guy, that's a huge fucking deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really really rare that you see one guy stick to a team for his entire career. Like, which is why I have respect for guys like Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal. Like, as much as they're not winning wherever they are, it's impressive to see a guy stick with a team for
The
that long,
loyalty
especially when
means
they're that
something, I
bad.
think.
I think it does too. Like Damian Lillard needs another All Star. Clearly, he's not going to be able to do it on his own. But I don't think he's ever going to leave for it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, like as a fan, that's something you have to really love because you get to just root
Yeah,
for that guy. There's no
yeah. You can
reason
be like
not to at
Damian
that
Lillard
point.
is our guy. Like you can proudly say Damian Lillard is your guy.
Exactly.
Whereas OKC can't say that about Kevin Durant. Neither can Golden State, and apparently neither can Brooklyn now. So who knows where that man's going?
It's just the type of guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. He's still one of the greatest players of all time. Like he's a 7-footer who had handles like Kyrie, basically. Actually, that's a lie. No one had handles. No one has handles like Kyrie. Kyrie's kind of nuts. But like, you know what I mean? He's a
I know
seven
what you
footer who
mean.
can dribble and can pull it from anywhere. Like that's not something you
That's
see very often.
different. That's
Yeah,
very different.
yeah.
All
the
right.
the equivalent I have.
Does that wrap up your basketball?
Yeah, I think that wraps up basketball.
You're gonna have to figure out another sport, man. You're gonna have to start
I
like paying
know, man. I
attention to
know. I mean,
football or
I can
golf or
talk about
something. Like,
hockey. I can talk about
well, I
football a
wasn't
little
planning
bit.
on talking about hockey too
But,
much. I've got two trades that I felt mattered. One is pretty controversial, and the other one I just like saying the guy's
yeah, I
name.
think one we really got to talk about.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Flames' whole Kachuk situation. I mean, he
that.
said
Yeah,
he wasn't going to sign an extension, so you knew a trade was coming, but you didn't expect that they would get totally fucking fleeced. Well, whoever they trade with would. Like,
the Panthers. Yeah, the Panthers got
when
super
normally when a
called
guy says he's not going to sign an extension, that's a sign to all the other fucking sharks in the water
that they don't need to give up a
that
lot.
they don't need to pay that
Yeah,
much. You know what I mean? You're still competing,
wait,
but it's like, okay,
Huberto?
well, okay, but that's the thing is if it was to Kachuk Huberdeau straight up, you still would probably say the Panthers overpaid.
Yeah, exactly.
But basically, what it was that Matthew Kachuk from the Flames and a conditional fourth round pick in 2025 went to the Florida Panthers, the retirement community of the NHL, and they got in return Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar, Cole Schwint, and a conditional first round pick in 2025, which is just fucking ridiculous because
That's
Kachuk's now
nuts.
going to
That's
sign
insane.
an 8-year deal worth 9.5 million per season, supposedly, which is fucking huge.
In hockey, that's massive.
Normally, like guys are
Like,
signing like 8x8s. You know what I mean? Like it's not. That's fucking crazy. So good for him. I like the Kachuk brothers. I
yeah,
really like them a
Huberto
lot.
and Uyghur.
But
Did you
yeah,
know that they went to school with Jason Tatum?
no way, really?
Yeah, they went to school with Jason Tatum.
That's pretty sick, actually.
I found that out because Jason Tatum has a YouTube channel, right? From like when he
Okay.
was in high school. And he was talking about it was like a video for his high school where he was like, why I love Chaminade Prep or whatever. And he's talking about it and he mentions I'm pretty sure he mentions Matthew Kachuk.
Damn.
I was like, oh,
That's pretty
that caught me
cool.
off guard.
I love that. All right, good tie-in, Nathan. Nice point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, just a little fun fact out there.
I love fun facts. That's my true kink, I think. That's fun facts are really what my kink is. That nothing excites me more than like a cocktail fact. You know what I mean?
A
But
little fun, little snippet of
yeah,
something.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
a
A tidbit, if you will.
little tidbit. Ah, yes, yes.
Here's a tidbit. Kachuk, career best season this year. 42 goals, 62 assists, 104 points in 82 games. They had he has no business being that fucking good. It's just crazy. But the
I mean, yeah,
Flames,
that's impressive.
yeah, that's a I if I
I
had
don't
that, I
know.
would never
I don't
need to
know
do
if it's
anything else in my
Huberto
life.
Uyghur showing the first
It really isn't. That's the thing.
impressive, but
And I mean, and
like,
you get a fourth round pick, which in hockey is almost nothing. I mean, it's a bag of pucks. You know what I mean? Send that in.
yeah.
Give it. It's like
So I
fucking.
mean,
It's like Slapshot when they're like, "Yeah, I
oh,
got a good washing machine we can send you." You know what I mean? But yeah, Flames kicked out of the playoffs by the Oilers. Kachuk played well in the playoffs for the most part. Across 7 seasons, though, this was awesome. He has 431 games played, 152 goals, and 230 points. He's second in his draft class in points, behind only Austin Matthews. That kind of blew my mind. I knew he was good, but that's yeah.
yeah. I saw
Austin
the fact
Matthews is a
that
god, right? That's how he's
he's
viewed
first in goals. Kachuk is first in goals and fourth in assists.
from his
And
draft
his
class.
yeah,
Holy shit, that's crazy. So, I mean, I guess like as a Calgary fan, you're probably really sad to see that go, but you got to feel
I mean,
good. I
yeah.
mean,
But you got a haul for it.
Huberdeau is one of the top point producers in the NHL. I mean, he's 29, but he had 30 goals and 85 assists with it's 115 points. He was tied for second in the league with Johnny Gaudreau, who was
With
playing
who
for
would
the
have been his
Flames.
teammate if he didn't go to
Exactly. Could you
Ohio?
imagine those two together?
Oh, that would have been
Jesus.
nuts.
And Uyghur, he's 28, but he's a defenseman. He posted career highs like with 8 goals, 36 assists, a plus minus of 40. And I think he's actually like, is it right handed or left handed? It's whatever's rare for defensemen. He is. And
Yeah,
then Schwint is, he's 21 and he played really well in like the AHL affiliate last year. So I don't
I mean,
know.
yeah,
I mean,
you get a nice prospect for you.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's not even the point. That's a throw in. You still have a
Yeah, I
first
mean,
round
literally,
pick in a
yeah,
couple
you're
years
getting Huberto and Uyghur
and
and
two
a
guys who
first.
upgrade like literally both of your line one rollouts. I mean, that's you got to be happy as a Calgary fan for that. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
sad to see Kachuk go, but hopefully he can do something in Florida because they
I
need
think
it,
they
man.
did. I think Calgary did a really good job at like dealing with Goudreau leaving.
Yeah, I mean,
Like they could have just laid down and taken it
yeah.
and just been a garbage team for a couple years. But I think they did a good job at kind of like flipping it and rebuilding it a little bit.
Well, I mean, this feels like fucking the St. Louis Cardinals trading for Nolan Arenado. I mean, they gave up literally nothing, and not that Kachuk is nothing, but when you consider the return, you're like, wow, we have
Yeah.
been rewarded.
In
Yeah.
comparison, the Flames won like
Oh, for
heavily.
sure, for sure. So hopefully that can change their future because I like the Flames. I like their jerseys. I like Canadian teams doing
Yeah, I
well.
used to be a massive Jerome McGinley fan,
Oh, how can't you be, right?
I was a big Flames
Olympic
guy,
hero Jerome McGinley.
big Jerome McGinley guy over here.
I just like saying his name. Once I learned how to say it, I was just like Jerome McGinley. What a fucking
Jerome
name.
McGinley.
But yeah, the other trade going on is Oliver Bjorkstrand to Seattle. One of the best names in hockey, in my opinion. And I'm just mentioning this for the most part because Bjorkstrand's good, but I mean, I with Vegas coming in and being what they were, I've now expected Seattle to do the same
I know,
thing.
right? You
Until I
expected
saw
an
that they were the Kraken, I'm
extreme
like,
jump.
oh yeah, no, this is like an AHL team. This isn't going to be good. But they got him from Columbus. They only had to give up a third and a fourth round pick. In 80 games, Bjorkstrand had a career best 28 goals and 29 assists, but he's been consistent. It's the third time in 4 seasons he's had 20 goals. So hopefully Seattle can start bringing more pieces in and actually doing something because I
Yeah,
mean when you're called the Kraken, you gotta be good to justify that. So
they kind of have
I mean this isn't Pirates of
a
the
legacy
Caribbean,
to
you know what I
uphold that.
mean?
Like they got a shadow that they got to get out of because Vegas came in and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna make the finals
It
immediately."
wasn't yeah, but I remember doing like a fantasy hockey pool in my business class in high school. And it was like we did it as a project, but we were like, yeah,
Yeah,
we can get a bunch of money in here. So we did. It was like people's parents and brothers and friends and blah 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 and people at work, and we had a huge pool going. And not many people were really going heavy at Vegas, and
I mean,
I didn't
because
know enough
Vegas
about
was
hockey. I
like,
was like, yeah, they look cool, and they've got some guys I like there. I'll go for it. And they went almost went all the way, man. I mean, I
well,
wanted
I mean, you never really expect an expansion team to make it even into the
you can't
playoffs, right?
expect
Like,
that.
it's literally the team is consisted purely of people that teams don't want.
I mean, I will say the players they picked and the guys they got had again no business being as good as they were. I won't call it an
I mean, yeah, I
overperformance.
think
I
it's because
think
they
that
all
they
had a
ran
chip
with
on
the
their shoulder.
opportunity. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I love the fact that they actually and I mean being Vegas too. Like I remember them questioning like that's not a hockey town type of thing. Like oh, it's gonna be another Arizona. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But then they went and did that. I'm like, yeah, sick
and everyone's like, "Oh,
jerseys,
okay,
like a
so they're
cool
good now."
stadium, exciting city. I mean, now that the team's good, like they're gonna have attendance and shit. Everybody's in Vegas. It's one of the highest like tourist population cities in all of the world. So like, fuck yeah, let's get going. So hopefully Seattle can do something like that. But we got a little football, Nathan. We got a little football to
Little
talk about.
college footy.
Yeah, a little college footy, stuff I know nothing about, but Kirby Smart, he got a massive contract extension from Georgia. 10 years, $112.5 million. He's getting 10 and a quarter this season, plus whatever the hell supplemental compensation is. I don't know if that's like the kid diddling fund that colleges have or like what it is.
Probably like
All the money they
if you
rob from
reach
not
this.
allowing their athletes to get paid type of thing. I don't know.
I mean, on the bright side, they can get paid now. So
Yeah, well, sort of, right? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about college football to know this. I mean, I know Georgia, like he
it's
turned it
like one of the
around.
top.
They went
Yeah.
last season. They won the national championship. It was the first for Georgia since 1980. So over 40
Oh well.
years. He's 66 and 15 in 6 years at Georgia. So Good for him. Good for the Bulldogs. I don't know. Maybe I'll become a Georgia fan. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe
He's
Anthony
also a
Edwards.
former defensive back for Georgia, which that's always cool. I like guys coaching their alma maters. And then,
Oh, okay. I got a little thing about this next point that you're gonna say.
yeah, here we go. Kyler Murray mega extension, another one. Jesus Christ, Nathan, how much could you do with this kind of money?
You
Fucking
know what I find really
230
funny
and a
about
half
this?
million, and he's guaranteed 160 million through 2028. Oh my God.
You know what's hilarious about this? You know how
What?
he was drafted by the Oakland A's like a
Right,
couple years
yeah.
ago, right? Yeah, he was drafted the 13th or something
Yeah.
by the Oakland A's, right? The amount of money he is making this next year is more than the entire Oakland A's payroll.
That's so funny. Oh, I love that.
He is making more money from 1 year of his mega extension than the entire Oakland A's payroll.
I mean, as a quarterback, too, it's not like you're even like, well, do I get brain damage or do I not? It's just like, no, I'm just going to go get way more fucking money no matter what.
Yeah, you're fine, but like just don't get sacked, and you're okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't
obviously
know
it's
if
not
he's had a
but
bit of a problem with that, but I think that it's obviously not his fault. The Cardinals just aren't
yeah, the Cardinals
doing
need a
what they
better O
should
line,
be.
but whatever.
I mean, number one overall pick. Let's go. Heisman Trophy winner. Let's go. Fucking 160 million already in your pocket. Let's go. And he's not fucking like shabby either. You know what I mean? It's not
Oh
like
yeah,
he's come
he's
in
he's
and
a good guy,
busted.
he's a good player.
67% of his passes completed through 46 career games, almost 11,500 yards, 70 touchdowns, and he's rushed for almost 2,000 yards and 20 TDs on the fucking ground. So let's go. I'd like to see Arizona be good. They're not a hockey
Yeah,
city, but they are for sure can be a
they're
football city.
definitely yeah.
So
As I said, they're definitely football related.
I mean, last like they yeah,
I guess
I
it would
guess
be a
they were good
state.
in
I guess it would be
2019.
a
It
football
says here.
state.
Football state, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Arizona, it's all desert, you know what I mean?
it's all
There's four
yeah.
states in the US that basically don't need cities. You shouldn't live there anyway. So, oh, that'll be the dog barking I expected. But yeah, so a little football news. Good to see some people getting paid, I guess. I don't know. I'm
Yeah, I mean,
not
it's always nice to see some guys getting a bag.
I've never like had money, nor will I ever even come close to that kind of money
Oh
for
man,
anything I do.
this pod might make us
I don't
a
know if there's any
couple, maybe ten
podcast
bucks.
ever that's
Mhm.
like made anything more than what they had to pay to do it. So yeah, I don't know. Guess that's good for them. Hopefully Kyler Murray can go do some stuff because he's a really exciting guy to watch. But yeah, moving on to some baseball. There's a lot of baseball news right now, as there always is, because I'm a freak. But really quickly, I want to go over the home run derby and the All Star
Gonna
game.
celebrate a little bit.
It's kind of a week old now, but it was done basically the night that we recorded last episode. So
Yeah.
yeah, home run derby. Soto won. I'm really excited to see that. That's so fucking good for him. He
No,
deserves it.
no three-peat Alonzo.
Yeah, I wanted Julio to win. He made it to the finals and got beat by Soto. I just wanted Julio to not let Pete Alonso win, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. So, yeah, Julio, he ended up with 81 homers. He hit, I think, like over 30 or something in each of the first two rounds and then struggled in the end, but whatever. Soto's the second youngest Derby winner by 1 day, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out who was first as the youngest. I maybe just didn't look that hard, but I looked harder than I looked for most stuff so far in this podcast, and I couldn't find it. No article seemed to mention it. They just said younger, like youngest by second youngest by 1 day. So apparently
Yeah,
it's a secret, but that's cool.
we'll never know.
He's also the sixth Dominican-born player to win, which is good. I'm a Canadian, but the Dominican, if you don't root for them in terms of baseball, you're wasting your time.
All right.
Sammy Sosa in 2000, Miguel Tejada in 2004, Vlad Sr. in '07, Ortiz in 2010. Ortiz just got inducted to the Hall of Fame yesterday. Congrats, Big Poppy. Man's a gangster. He was wearing fucking hose. He was wearing a hat that said "hose mad" on the way to his induction. Like when he was going, it was. Yeah, I love Poppy. He's awesome. He won in 2010. Robbie Cano won in 2011. Three of the four semifinalists this year, Pujols, Rodriguez, and Soto, were Dominican too. So I don't know. It's just always great to see the Dominican dominate in baseball. Another
Yeah,
special
kind of the
thing.
sport.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Pujols, first round of the Derby. It's his last All Star game, obviously, before retiring. He got in as like a legacy selection with Cabrera, and he got a standing ovation. I think when he took his time out at Dodger Stadium, and every All Star in attendance that was within capability of getting on the field got on the field and went around him at home plate and like patted him on the back and applauded him. That was fucking cool to see. Really happy to see that. I didn't realize he's won a shitload of home run derbies. That guy's like the ultimate home run derby king. So pretty cool for him. Soto actually got to knock Pujols out too. And Pujols is like Soto's idol as
Yeah.
he is for most players. Um, he appreciated him so much actually. I didn't notice this watching it, but he leaned over to Starling Marte and he asked if he should let Pujols win just to keep going. But yeah, so that was cool. That was a good thing to see. The All Star game was really good too. I hope everybody who listened to it, like listened to me, watched it because it was an awesome game. The American League won for the ninth year in a row. Let's go, American League dominance, best fucking league in baseball by far. They won 3-2, so pretty typical All Star game. The NL actually got out to a lead pretty early, but then Giancarlo Stanton hit a fucking Goliath 2-run home run that tied the game, and then immediately following him, Byron Buxton hit a home run off a ball that he had no business even putting the bat on. If you haven't seen the highlights of those two home runs, go look them up. Byron Buxton could teach everybody a fucking thing or two about hitting a baseball. That man is a legitimate freak. That fastball was like at his shoulders, and he just annihilated it. So yeah, it was low scoring. It was early scoring, but there was action the whole time. Tons of great defense. Pitching was, as it always is, stellar. And there was actually they did a pretty cool thing where they mic'd up guys on the field, and they talked to them during the game. So Alek Manoah was pitching. I can't remember what inning it was.
Oh
He
yeah,
was
he was mic'd up the whole time.
Yeah, he was on a mic and he struck out all three I don't know if it was, I think he ended up hitting. Yeah, okay, sorry. This is the story. So he struck out three batters in his inning. And when he was pitching, he asked the booth what kind of pitch to throw Jeff McNeil with two strikes. So John Smoltz told him to put out the back foot slider, and then fucking Manoah hits McNeil with it in the foot. So they were having a little back and forth about it. John Smoltz, if you don't know, Hall of Fame pitcher, he's a legend. He's great. So that was pretty cool to see. I wish they would do that in like games. Obviously, you kind of can't, but it's just
Yeah.
I love to hear that. And it's not like it's true competition. I mean, Manoah said he was having fun, but he also was like he was talking to guys, he was chirping. I mean, that's kind of what he does. So that was cool. Shohei Otani's like single on the first pitch of the game was cool because that was exactly what he said he was going to do. Somebody asked him, and he's like, "Oh, my strategy: first pitch, first swing," and he did it. And then, like two pitches later, Clay Shaw was pitching to Judge, and he picked off Otani, so that was pretty cool. And Rachel Robinson, this was awesome. If you don't know who Rachel Robinson is, Jackie Robinson, it's his wife. It was her 100th birthday on the day of the All Star game. I don't know if this was planned, but it was also in LA, which is where Jackie played.
Yeah.
She
If
turned
you haven't
100.
seen that movie, watch
Oh,
the
go
movie.
watch the movie for sure, but you should know who Jackie Robinson is.
Yeah.
So Denzel Washington was there. He gave like a pregame kind of announcement, an address, and then Mookie Betts said a few things and got everybody in the stadium to give Rachel Robinson a happy birthday. That was fucking awesome. And then Denzel was wearing a number 42 Dodgers jersey at home plate. And like, yeah, his thing was like a narrated celebration of all of Robinson's accomplishments because it was the 75th anniversary of his debut this year. So that was a really cool moment in LA for everybody there. Rachel Robinson's birthday, and then the game was excellent. But a way better game you should have watched, and you should go watch, was the other day. The Blue Jays beat the Red Sox 28-5. They basically, it was a football score. It was a
That
football
was
score if a
atrocious.
team got like a safety, and a couple weird plays and like a field goal or something.
It
It was
was
awesome. I
oh
loved it. I was giggling my balls off the entire night watching this game because like come on, we got to get into a good second half. We went into the All-Star break strong. We got to gain some momentum, move up in the division, and then they just do this. It's not even funny. I got the box score here. 28 runs scored, 57 at bats in a game, 29 hits, 28 RBI, obviously, 5 walks, 9 strikeouts. Um, 28, that's the sixth time since 1900 that a team has scored 28 or more. And it's the first time the Blue Jays have reached that number, and it's the first time the Red Sox allowed that number. The Blue Jays beat their franchise record by the fifth inning. I think they had 25 or 27 runs at that point.
yeah, I think 27 was the
Yeah, so they literally beat it halfway through the game. It was just an utter. They had like an 11-run third inning.
like
Um,
you're the Boston Red Sox.
yeah, and I mean you've been
You have some,
streaky and slumpy, but
you can't. But 28, like
29 hits. That's the previous record was 25 for the Blue Jays from 1999 against the Rangers. But the wild thing about this to me, everybody in the starting lineup basically, well not no, exactly, had multiple hits in Friday's game and 7 of them had 3 or more hits. I don't yeah, it's video
like
game. It's playing on rookie is what it is.
literally. And then there's the biggest blunder of all,
Oh my
the
God, yes.
inside the park grand
Jaron
slam.
Duran, you're my new favorite player as long as you're never on the Jays roster. Raimel Tapia, who has been literally Mike Trout Jr. for the last month, comes up, bases loaded, and this was the story of the night basically for the Red Sox. They could not catch a ball to save their life. Tapia gives this ball a really good ride, actually. He hits it well into center field. I thought there was a chance it was going to clear the fence. And then what I saw was Jaron Duran step forward about 2 or 3 steps, look up and shrug his shoulders.
And then the
He
ball
lifted
hits
his
the wall
hands,
behind him.
looked down at the infield, turned around and watched the ball hit at the base of the wall in center field, inside the park, grand slam. I've never seen anything as crazy as that on a baseball field. It was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. I'm glad I
I saw
wasn't
the
eating at the
notification
time.
for it, and I immediately went to go watch it.
Oh, it's ridiculous. If you haven't seen it, it's why baseball is great. Like
Like
that's nothing but a
that sums up
mistake.
it sums up the entire night.
Oh God,
That
yeah.
one play sums up the whole game.
Oh yeah. And at that point it was 10-0 Toronto. That made it 10-0 Toronto. Like and then later than that game, Teoscar Hernandez hit a home run. Then Danny Jansen hit a 3-run home run in that inning. 14-0 now. And then it just continues to get worse. There's no mercy rule, so you just got to take this punishment.
You just have to
They
eat
did
it.
not stop hitting. They had like I said, they had an 11-run
I
inning.
mean, why would you? Once you beat the record, why would you stop?
The best
Like,
part of the game,
or
Nathan,
why wouldn't you stop until you hit the
oh,
record?
absolutely. And they subbed
Yeah.
guys out at the end and stuff. Like Vladdy only got 4 at
I
bats or
mean, yeah.
whatever. But
Eventually, you want to go home, like as the team that you're
well, you just got
like
to
a
give
team that's
guys some
dominating.
rest. I mean,
Yeah,
hitting almost 8 times in a night is double what you would normally do. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a lot. It's a lot of game. But the best part, Nathan, between innings, I don't know what inning, a guy proposed to his girlfriend on the jumbotron. She said yes, and the stadium DJ played "We Fell in Love in a Hopeless Place." And I just think, as a fan, like we're in Boston, where heckling is the main attraction of the
Yeah,
ballpark, that is the funniest shit ever. That guy's sitting in the booth going, you know what's going to make this
you
proposal
know, it'd
real
be
memorable?
hilarious.
You know what's going to be really funny for them to think about on their wedding night? We fell in love in a hopeless place. Let's go. So that's awesome. Like I say, go watch the highlights of that game if you
Yeah,
aren't into baseball. That's the kind of thing that can get you into baseball. Um, So one trade, and then we have a little bit of a discussion, I
A
suppose.
little bit of Soto talk.
I only bring this up because this is what peak athleticism looks like, friends. This is another reason why baseball is the best sport on the planet, because a guy who looks like Daniel Vogelbach can be important. He gets traded to the Mets. He played for Pittsburgh. He gets traded to the Mets. They really needed some punch at the designated hitter position. That's the only thing he plays. If you see him, you'll know why. He's a lefty. He was an all-star in 2019. This year he's only hitting 228. He's got 12 homers, 34 RBIs. He's a good OPS guy. Like he's better than what the Mets have had. They gave up a pitcher and not really anything important to mention. Nothing against that guy. It's the guy who gets traded for Daniel Vogelbach. If you haven't seen him, you need to go Google him. Vogelbach. I know it sounds funny that I have to spell it, but you gotta find this guy.
Vogelbach gives me the vibes of like when you pick Donkey Kong in a Super Sluggers game.
That's exactly what it is, Nathan. And I mean, I got a picture here. I guess you can maybe edit it in. It's Vogelbach and former Blue Jay, now Milwaukee Brewer, Rowdy Tellez. They could literally be the starting offensive line members for almost NFL team, I'm sure. And they're baseball players, same sport where a guy like Pedro Martinez, who's like 5'7", 175 pounds, can be the most dominant pitcher. So yeah, let's go. Let's
Yeah,
go.
like
That's
his only job is to just hit dingers.
yeah, if he went on steroids the way Barry Bonds type of like steroids, his neck wouldn't get bigger. It just couldn't.
It would just be the same.
His
It would
forearms are
just be more
literally the
defined.
size of like my thighs, and I'm a big guy. Like this picture I have of him and Rowdy standing beside each other at first base, they don't look like they're
They
big
don't.
because it's
Yeah,
just them.
but
But
you put them
even
next
in
to
this picture, I mean, Rowdy's a big dude, and Vogelbach's arms are almost double what his are.
still bigger. Like
They are wearing some
that's
cool
wild.
unis like the Pittsburgh and the new Brew Crew jersey. They look pretty
Yeah,
sick there. But
I
yeah,
rock with those.
if you haven't seen him, go Google him and, like I said, laugh your balls off. So this is the big thing. This is the KD right now for baseball. All right, Juan Soto, and we mentioned it a little bit when he was turning down offers, and I said he's probably an off-season move. Maybe I'm eating my words. I don't know. Hasn't happened yet, but it's probably gonna.
Probably. I wouldn't be
So
surprised if it did happen in season.
I almost don't want it to, but I think it's
I don't
probably
want it to either,
it's
but it
probably what's gonna
probably will.
happen. So I've compiled some research involved, a little Bleacher Report, little Sportsnet, mostly my opinion here though. Um, I have some teams that I think could maybe go get Juan Soto, and they're pretty much the only teams I think that could go get Juan Soto, if I'm being really honest. First off, I'll give you a couple outside chances. I think they're worth mentioning because it is possible, but I don't think it would happen. Miami Marlins, number one here. Well, I guess whatever number 10 we'll say or something. The bottom, the lowest chance. They have everything that you would need in a sense to go trade for them. Their pitchers, they have starting five right now in the majors of really talented, really young star level guys, and they have more in the minors coming up. It feels like every day. Uh, they could definitely make a package that would entice Washington. But the thing is, other than some of their potential stars at the core, they're kind of in a weird pre-rebuild position. There's not really great hype around the team. I know there was a bunch of stuff going on with Jazz Chisholm in the last month or so, and I think it's bullshit. But either way, it doesn't look good. It's kind of the same way the whole Jeter buying in and then immediately getting the fuck out thing looked for them. Um, they probably don't look to go sign a big star in the next 2 years, maybe next year. But I mean, Soto's got 2 years left of team control. I don't think that's why you trade for him. You don't trade for him for 2 years just to let him walk in free agency. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no. You
You're going to
want him
have
for
to
as
give
long as
up
you
way too
possibly can.
much. So I don't know if they're in any position to get him. If it went to the offseason, I think there's a chance if they also rock free agency type of thing. So there's them. Probably doesn't happen. He'd look good in Miami jersey. I'm not gonna lie. Minnesota Twins, next one. I don't think so, but they have a top 10 farm system, super deep, talented major league roster, playoff contender. They can probably get out of the first round. They've been good for a few years. They have guys like Correa and Buxton there. They're in a win now window, obviously, and they can take advantage of a division not being super loaded if they went and got a guy like Soto. They probably wouldn't feel it too much. I don't think in any way it makes them bad now or in the future for what they have to pay, but I don't think it's what happens. And now we get into the favorites, and I guess there's a problem because there's six of them, but there's
Not
usually
really any
there's
favorites in that case.
usually six teams that are in on like top tier guys in baseball. You can usually count on that based on usually payroll allowance alone. So, not in a totally particular order, but I will finish with my personal favorite. We'll start with the Yankees. Obviously, they're the Yankees. They always get the big guy,
Yeah.
normally in free agency. I will say that the Steinbrenners are pretty famous for going out and signing all the guys who do well against them as a tactic. But
That's
they,
smart.
it's
Smart.
brilliant. It works. It worked for a very long time. It's why they're the Yankees. So good, good plan, I guess, Steinbrenner family. But they can absolutely trade for him. They have plenty of major league talent to move if they had to. If Washington wanted that, they wouldn't get weaker unless they're
Yeah. Not to
asking for
mention it's just
Judge,
like
which you're not doing. Like there's
not to
nobody
mention
they can
it's just the
lose.
name. Like
Exactly. Exactly.
it's the idea of playing. It's the equivalent to the Lakers, right? Like you're playing for the Lakers. Like you're playing for the Yankees.
Yeah, and I mean, you can say those are some heavy pinstripes, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
not for
exactly.
a guy like Juan Soto, not for
No.
him. He's already won a World Series in a place that had no business winning a World Series. He's a stud. He's fine. He turned down over 400 and fucking $40 million. He's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think the Yankees have a good chance. I heard rumors that the Nationals want both of the Yankees' young shortstops in Oswald Peraza and Anthony Volpe. I also heard Talking Baseball credit, great podcast, great company, go listen. Um, the Yankee organization may be in a spot where they're feeling good because they supposedly like Peraza more. Now, the Talking Baseball guys have an in with the Yes Network. They're Yankee fans. They're in New York. They work for Yes. They've talked to a lot of people in the organization. This is what they mentioned today, or I guess a couple days ago. Um, they think that the Yankees like Peraza more, whereas the hype is more around Volpe. So they might be able to get what they feel is the best option there. And those are guys like Moreno for the Blue Jays, or a Marciano for the Giants, who would be the headline of that deal. But aside from that, I mean, the Yankees are in they're off to the best start in baseball history, essentially, and they're in not an opinion but a fact the most difficult division in baseball. The stadium is built for him. The stars are waiting for him with hope, open arms. The Yankees can absolutely afford anybody they want. There's no reason in my mind for him to not go to the Yankees. I'm just trying to not manifest that too much because I am a Jays
Just trying
fan.
to avoid that happening.
Exactly. But if you're placing a bet on it, the Yankees probably the realistic top number one contender. San Francisco Giants is one that have been linked to Soto pretty tightly. I think they overperformed last year. Some people say they didn't. I think they did, but they don't have true studs. There's nobody really on the roster that an outside of baseball person would recognize, and they're in the NL West, which is the second hardest division in baseball. So as well as your coaching staff can do and as well as your fines can be for your roster, getting a guy like Soto changes everything. They could pay for him. They have the talent, like I mentioned, Marco Luciano at shortstop in the minors. He's 20. Oracle Park would be really fun for Soto to play in with triples alley and launching those balls into the water. He's already been compared to Bonds, so why not go play in Bonds' home? You know what I mean? And you do get to go compete in a great division for a storied franchise. You can lead
Yeah.
a huge rebuild that, can change the face of baseball. Like, that's a pretty cool opportunity. I mean, I'm sure you've seen in basketball, guys, like, they look for that.
Yeah, they look for legacy rather than
Exactly.
rather than
So,
necessarily win. I mean, he's already won, so he doesn't really even need to
well, no, but
like.
this is a guy who needs to go have a handful of them. You know what I mean?
I guess yeah, but it's
So,
not like it's something that's holding him back
oh
anymore
God,
because
no.
he's already won. So now he can just play for legacy
That's
technically.
why you can turn down 440 million.
Yeah, you're like I've already won. It's fine.
The only thing I guess that's in the negative for the Giants, in my opinion, is they have a ton of lefty bats, but it's not like Soto can't hit lefties, and not for nothing, the Blue Jays have an all right-handed lineup, and it's a problem, sure, but it's not like it's not working. So why not in the NL just do the opposite, see what happens? But it does bring us to the Jays. And I will say straight up, I don't think I want to do this. Um, Financial position, not in a place with Juan Soto that I really like as an armchair manager. I mean, Vladdy, Bo, Moreno coming up, who would probably have to be traded for Soto. All those guys are going to get pretty fucking expensive, especially in the next couple of years. You've already got Soto, Barrios. You're going to have to extend Matt Chapman if you want to. Those guys are making a lot of money, and unless Rogers is willing to spend huge, like the Yankees or the Dodgers potentially for the next decade, I don't think this is going to put us in a better situation long term. And I'm all about long term for like the next decade or two with the Blue
Oh yeah,
Jays until they can start really showing off their coaching and their training and their new facilities and turning that into like a dynasty level, not necessarily team, but organization, the way the Dodgers and the Yankees kind of are, the way that they attract people. Like that's when you go out and you make this literally financial shifting move.
yeah. I
But
think focus more on like
you have guys.
making it a destination that stars want to come to
Exactly. And we've already seen
first,
it.
and then do it.
In the trade or in the draft this year, there's already a couple of guys who have signed for way under slot, or a couple of their top round picks who have said, I specifically wanted to come to the Blue Jays because of, because of their facilities, or because of their coaching, or because of how
Yeah,
fast they like to move successful guys through the minors and all of these things that they're doing. That's the culture that you need to generate for a good long
yeah,
time. And you'll see this type of thing pay off. So I mean, they can buy them or buy 'em. They can afford them. They have, like I said, Moreno. Their farm system isn't as good as it used to be, but a lot of their young guys at the majors, a lot of the guys in the farm system are still highly touted. You can give up everything you need to do to get them. I think it fits in our lineup well, being a lefty. I don't think I like how it ends up treating Lourdes Gurriel Jr. or Teoscar Hernandez, who are one of them or both of them are probably going in the other direction. I love those guys. So, other than Raimel Tapia being, like I said, Mike Trout Jr., that would be our pretty much only consistent lefty bat in the lineup. It would be huge. It probably puts you over the edge, gets you a World Series this year potentially. I don't think it turns us into what I'd like to see. So, as a Blue Jays fan, not into it. Padres, labeled as favorites. They have the talent to pay. They're in a good position roster wise. They can sort of offer Soto everything he needs. Like if he played for, say, the Dodgers or the Giants in the NL West there and similar positions, but they've got lots of money on the books, like the Jays, and unless they're willing to get him locked down long term and can really afford that, like I said, you're going to give up too much. So I don't think that the Dodgers are in a as much of a win now position, especially like with Tatis hurt most of this season and all that. I don't think they're true favorites. Wrapping up here, the last two, they're the biggies. Um, other than the Yankees, I think the Dodgers are always the favorite again. Again, it's the Dodgers. They have the money, they have the talent, they have the capital to move, they have the history, they have literally the future. They're going for their fourth World Series appearance in 6 years. They're perennial World Series favorites, the brightest lights, the biggest stage. Same as the Yankees, there's no reason they can't have basically any player they want. Um, Again, similar to Yankees, difficult division. You're trying to secure your position. I mean, they're being chased hard by the Padres and the Giants this year. Um, I don't think that there's any reason he couldn't go here. You always bet on the Dodgers and the Yankees. You just do.
yeah. You can't not.
You can't not. But the thing is, the Dodgers could really use him too. And I know it sounds stupid because everybody could really use him, but other than Freeman, from the left side of the plate, Bellinger, Muncy, and Lux all have a sub 700 OPS. They're not doing very well, and I don't think it matters at all to the Dodgers, but it's a thing. So I think the Dodgers probably, like if he winds up in Dodger blue, I don't think anybody would be remotely surprised. I don't think it would impact the Dodgers in any way, shape, or form, other than we're just going to go win more World Series now. So if it happens, that's okay. I kind of like rooting for the Dodgers as long as they don't get in the way of the Jays winning a World Series now and again. I'm happy. That's fine. But my personal favorite, I don't know how you feel. I don't know if you care, Nathan. I think the Cardinals, by far and away, should, will, and need to have Juan Soto. They could afford him at any level of their talent. The rookies they've called up this year, the first year guys, are looking like true studs. They could be moved if they needed to be. The major league roster has everything from, experienced veterans like Yachty and Wayno who are retiring this year and obviously wouldn't be moved. In Pujols too, to like Goldschmidt, who's got another year and a half or 2 years. He's a veteran guy, but he's a true freak in baseball, one of the league leaders and like average home runs kind of guy, like just a stud. And then they have guys like, even Tyler O'Neill in the outfield, young Canadian stud. Let's go.
Oh, let's
You
go.
got
Shout out
guys
Canadian.
all over the infield and like Edmundo Sosa and everybody who's in their like young physical prime type of thing. So you're as set up as you can be in terms of how to afford them. But in my opinion, they're probably the best fit on the roster. Their outfield, he could slot in perfectly out there in right field if he wanted. Dylan Carlson can do his thing. You got Harrison Bader in center. You've got all kinds of guys out there that can play every position in the outfield. You don't have to worry about that because you have the DH now. Um, Position wise, like I said, roster wise, he's great. He's a lefty. He adds more versatility. He does things for them that they like, that they use, that they need. And budget wise, Yachty and Wayno are both retiring after this year, along with Pujols, who are all getting paid pretty good money.
So yeah, that's gonna open up a lot for him.
I think them alone is over 20 something million. And then when you consider Goldschmidt only has a year and a half or 2 years left on his big deal, he's gone. They've now got upwards of $40 million almost in spare change basically to go pay guys like Juan Soto or to go pay guys like Dylan Carlson or to go pay guys like Tyler O'Neill. Everybody there who they need to win, they can afford if they do this. I mean, you're not going to have any complaints from any of those guys if you assemble this roster with Juan Soto, your young rookies who come up to replace your guys who are leaving in Pujols, Yachty, and Molina are already there and already performing. You're in the best position possible. I mean, you're in the NL Central. It's not an overly difficult division. You've got a good opportunity. You've got a great roster. Everybody's happy. They probably, not ask for top dollar if this is what we can do. Let's go win World Series, boys. Let's make St. Louis a dynasty again. Like, and not for nothing. He's gonna look so good in those powder blue St. Louis unis. Like, you can't tell me that won't be one of the sexiest looks in all of baseball.
It would be a nice look on him, yeah.
So that's my favorite. That's who I want him to go to. If he went to any of the Dodgers, Yankees, or Jays otherwise, I'm gonna have feelings. I'm not sure how what kind of feelings. I'm gonna have feelings. If he goes to the Cardinals, I'm gonna become a way more dedicated Cardinals fan. So, like KD, we're on the sweepstake watch. There was also stuff about Shohei Ohtani getting traded, but I'm not even gonna really address that because if that happens, the Angels shouldn't be like they should like dismantle the team. You know what I mean? Like that they don't deserve to play anymore.
All
So yeah,
right.
I mean that's about that. A lot
That's
of a
pretty
lot of
much
stuff
everything,
to look
yeah.
for in baseball and in basketball, I guess. Big moves. Um. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have forgotten about this. I also wanted to mention too. Since we did the football thing last week, John Mechie the third announced. I think he has was it a leukemia diagnosis?
Oh yeah,
Um,
something about that.
I think he's like he's 26 or so. I think he's a wide receiver for the Texans. Um, looking like a pretty good guy too. I was checking out his stats. Pretty good player. Tough for him. Hopefully he does well. Not that again. I'm sure he'd never hear it, but
Yeah, hopefully he can recover from it. And
putting out the karma there. Hopefully he does well and comes back. Trey Mancini did it, won comeback player of the year in the MLB. So hopefully good things in the future for him. Um, and I guess with that, thanks for listening. I mean,
thanks.
if you
Yeah,
did,
thanks
if
for
you made it this
sticking with
far,
us.
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think I'd listened this far in our podcasts. I haven't yet, but that's because I'm too busy to
Too
also
busy
listen to
making.
my podcasts. So yeah, exactly. Too busy making it. So yeah, I don't know, Nathan. What do you think? What do you think about Juan Soto? What do you think? Where do you want him to go? Aside
I
from all
mean,
my shit I spewed.
I mean, the St. Louis argument is a very good argument. Obviously, seeing him join the superstars in LA or New York would be interesting.
Hmm.
I agree with the I don't want to see him in Toronto kind of thing because it's the exact same feelings I have with KD. Whereas like I admit yes he's like a really really good player and it'd be awesome to have him on our team, but I don't want to give up stuff for him.
Yeah, I don't want to pay that price.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think probably New York, LA, or St. Louis would be my hopes for where he would go. Obviously, if he goes to LA or New York, that might take away from some Blue Jays World Series opportunities. But
Well, we're both. My World Series prediction is still a possibility with the Jays beating the Braves in 6 games this year. So
we'll keep our
I've
eye
not
out.
lost my steam yet. Dude, if I get that call right, does that mean our podcast is successful? Like, will we
Do
just
we
get,
get a yeah?
is that a
Do
viral
is that
moment?
it? Is that the season finale?
Because I sent that to you like in the
You
winter.
sent that to me a while ago.
I sent
Yeah,
that to you in the off season.
I'm gonna have to send. I'm gonna have to send you a thing for all of my predictions for next season
I think you
before
did
that
send me a
gets started.
bunch
I
of
think I
predictions
did,
in
but
that
that was a long time
conversation.
ago.
It was a long time ago. We should pull that up
Yeah,
one day. We should figure out our predictions for shit.
yeah. We'll see how good we
We'll do
are. I
like
think
a
I
we'll
had
do like
Luka
a
in the top
10-year
three for
prediction. How
MVP.
about that?
I'm 99% sure I had Luka in the top three for MVP this year. I don't know how confident I am in that though.
We should do that. The next 10 years of the finals winners in the NBA.
All right, we'll have to. We'll do that. We'll do that. We'll allocate some time in
Sounds like a
one of these
nightmare,
next
but it
pods
sounds fun.
to just hear me ramble on about draft picks and future prospects.
I mean, you know the drafts for the next 10 years off by heart at this point, I'm sure. You're
I
a
mean,
freak like that.
I know the next like 2 3 years probably. I
I
watch
could do
kids while
some
they're in high
research into
school.
some
Let's be
elementary
honest.
leagues, you know what I mean?
I've been watching
This
like
guy would
a
live
lot of
out
players
there.
since they were in high school. So
Yeah, you're a freak. So yeah,
I
I don't
like my
know.
prospects. I like my
Yeah,
prospects.
go tell us how much you like prospects or how you're a freak too. I'd like to hear some freak stories, but
All right, yeah, maybe in a future pod we'll hear me ramble on about.
I more meant the people listening. If there's anybody, send a comment or a
Oh
like.
yeah, for sure.
We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. Go check. Totally off pod on Twitter. Uh, yeah,
Should us,
here's our socials for
stir up a
now.
conversation. Send us a
And
hot take.
share with all your friends so we can get a fantasy
So yeah,
basketball
so we
league
get the
going.
Fantasy Basketball
And we
Association
can put
up and
out some
rolling.
cool custom merch because Nathan's a freak designer as well. So hopefully we get to see some cool stuff coming out of that in the future. Hopefully you made it this far. Hopefully you listen next week as well. Nathan, these are coming out what? You said like Tuesday noon you're hoping for?
Yeah, Tuesday noonish
Tuesday
around.
noon? All right. Well, yeah, turn on alerts, I guess. Get updated for that because we're not going to
Yeah,
be
like subscribe,
we're going to strive for regularity. It might not happen, but we're going to do our best. So do your best. Be my best fan, be my best friend, and have a good day, my friends.